happening in the DSTV Premiership. I mean, a Cape Town derby. We've got the newcomers taking on the OGs in the league, which comes in Real Kings taking on Kaiser Chiefs. Then we've got Supersport United who travel to Morocco Swallows. It's going to be an interesting occasion. I think most of the people and many will be looking at the KZN derby in Amazulu taking on Golden Arrows, which will be taking place next week, Monday. Quite a bit far from where we are right now, but I mean, it is something that many should look into. Amazulu will be needing to bounce back. In studio, I'm joined by our very own producer, a football lover, and an ultimate perfectionist in everything he does. Salilo, good evening. Thank you for joining me. It's nice to have you on the other side of the mic for a change.
You forgot to mention the nice intro. I don't know if I can note.
I hope that there's gonna be. I hope there's gonna be no bias in that.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But yeah.
I wonder why there's gonna be no bias in it. Let's just see everything that comes down that this weekend will be coming down to.
Yeah.
Right? You're a football lover. We come out of a good, strong footballing week. I mean, Sundowns got the better of Kaiser Chiefs. We've also got Amazulu playing out with Supersport to a 0-0 draw.
Mhm. I think the game that stood out for me was the Chiefs Sundowns one. It was interesting. I watched the whole game, and it was interesting in the sense that there are good signs coming out of Kaiser Chiefs. Like, even though they lost, it does look like they're bouncing back. They're bouncing back nicely, and they might not be the Chiefs of old, but they're making strides. I think the signings that they made in the summer look very good. The likes of Keegan Dolly brought into the team. He's mixing up nicely with Kama Billiard. I think as time goes by and they play more and more matches, they should be bouncing back. Not that I'm happy about it, but it's nice to see.
Now, it's something that you want to see from a world class team like Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking at the season playing out, and I know that it's still very early days and it's very fresh into the season, but Sundowns are top of the log once again, starting off slow, leading by 2 points.
No, I think Sundowns, that's how they start every season. They start off slow, but then as the season goes, they change gears. They continue winning games, drawing less, which I think like is one thing that they've mastered, especially in the PSL, where you have a lot of teams that play really good football and they could be challenging for the league, but they draw a lot. You saw this last season, the season before, with the likes of Pirates.
Yeah.
Almost every season they finish either number 2 or number 3. But if they could have won 4 of the games that they played, that they drew, they could have been contending for the league. But Sundowns, again, man, they look like the ones who clinch it again this season.
Well, it's very early days to be making statements like that, Salilo. I mean, just looking at
you
it.
can see the signs, man. You can see the signs.
And I mean, you guys earlier this season had the Maritzburg United team, well, let's say owners, the big bosses, in studio speaking with you guys. And I mean, what's the mood like in a camp for a team that are neither at the bottom, yet they're neither at the top of the log?
I think they're rejuvenated, in a sense. You could hear when we're speaking to the manager that after the trials and tribulations of pre-season, when they were not sure whether or not they're coming back to the PSL, is their status going to be sold, or there was just a lot. They're going through some financial difficulties. I think they're settled. We all know Maritzburg United is a mid-table kind of club. No disrespect to them, but in the few seasons they've been slacking. They've been playing playoffs and it hasn't been looking good. So they brought in the coach again from Chiefs. So I don't know. He was with the team before. Enes Merendorp. He was with the team before. I think he knows the kind of team that they are. And hopefully there'll be that. I think even also the lack of fans kind of like affected them the most. If you watch football, you know that Friday nights at in Maritzburg, their home stadium was always full, and it was always a challenge for like teams to kind of come out there with a point. You know, it's either you lose or you
mm.
draw on Friday nights, and you know it was inspired by their fans. It was always a full house there. So yeah, I think that kind of affected them, but they sound good. I think
I'm glad you brought that point up.
yeah.
With no fans being in the stadium,
Hmm.
many of the bigger teams would fear going to the smaller teams because of the discomfort that they have
Yeah.
when they do travel away to the smaller teams. Now tell me something. What does something like this do to the morale of the smaller teams who heavily rely on their home support to get them going and rallied up so that they can be the giant slayers in the league?
I think it's actually more difficult for the quote unquote smaller teams, you know,
Mm,
because they well bigger teams. So sorry for that, because you know you if you're Pirates or you're Chiefs, you're always used to playing in a stadium that has at least half of the stadium
mm,
or more than that being your fans. And now, and that's been like the intimidating factor for like the smaller teams, you know, the likes of Baroka, no disrespect to them, you know, the you know Maritzburg, Stellenbosch, you know,
mm,
the teams that wouldn't normally, you know, fill up a stadium. But then when the Chiefs would go there, or you know, they would come to like an empty FNB stadium
mm.
or Orlando Stadium. For them, it's a bit, you know, it's a bit easy because you know they don't have to now compete with the team, the field, and all the thousands of fans
Yeah.
in the stands, because you know most of these players, some of them it's first time playing such a big stage as a PSL, and you
Mm,
know it can get a bit overwhelming. So I think it's working a bit more. That's why even in the English Premier League, before they had fans back, you'd see some shocking results because of you know the 12th men,
mm.
as they said,
The
isn't
12
it?
men just
Yeah,
disappearing.
yeah, they
And taking
disappeared.
things over to England,
Yeah.
I mean, you've dissected the PSL, or if you want to call it the DSTV Premiership,
Yeah.
right down to what can't be dissected anymore. Looking at the Premier League, I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo being
Oh
back at United,
God.
scoring on his debut, getting a midweek loss in Champions League.
Weird. Weird that.
What do you think this Champions League will have for for us this season? I mean, we've seen so many upsets. You've seen the rivalry between Liverpool and Milan reignited, where Liverpool came back to beat Milan midweek with
Mm.
a crack of a strike by Jordan Henderson, who hardly ever scores.
But
So,
when he does score, they're really special.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just been a bag of mixed results. What do you think this season is going to have for us with regards to Champions League?
Sure. I think well, it's a pleasure to have Milan back. You know, they've been out
Mm,
for some time. You know, it was nice seeing them and actually competing against Liverpool. It was a really, you know, end to end game that they played. And we saw Bayern again, you know, stepping the authority as you know one of the front runners. So I think they may be contenders for this one again. The dream front three, PSG, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. They also played. It was a bit underwhelming, but
mm,
I think as they continue to gel and continue to play together, you know, they'll it's quality players.
mm,
They'll get it. But I still maintain, you know. Man City, they should. You know,
mm,
it's always been close, but so far away for them. And I think you know this season again, as we do every season, they're the contenders, and I think it's time for them to like step up a bit. You know,
mm,
the fans are running out of patience, especially when it comes to Champions League. You know, they dominate, but we all know that the the cream of the top of the crop, you know, in that aspect is the Champions League. That's what everyone wants to win.
mm. No, definitely. But where does that big transfer come between Champions League and winning the league? Because you've seen many times
Yeah.
big teams just don't have that temperament to take it a step further or a notch up, even though they have quality sides
Hmm.
when it comes to Champions League. And then you get pretty average sides, like, let's say, I mean, for example, we use in English football here. You look at the likes of Manchester United,
Yeah.
you look at the likes of Liverpool, who have had pretty average teams over the seasons and they've won Champions League titles.
I think it has to do with how competitive your league is. I
Mm,
think that's like a big factor, you know, because when you look at you know League One for instance, where you have like a PSG dominating through and through, and you kind of get that I don't know, it doesn't paint a clearer picture
mm,
when they get to now face the big boys of Europe, because you know it's a bit different. It's that's where
mm,
like they're really challenged, and they have to pull out tricks out of the bag that they don't normally use.
Mm,
So I think how competitive the league is also kind of like gives a team a chance of whether or not they can lift the Champions League. English teams, the English league is really competitive. That's why I think in the last 3 seasons we've had an English team in the final. You
mm,
had Tottenham, you had Man City, and then you had Liverpool and Man City again.
mm,
So Chelsea coming last season. So I think the English Premier League is very competitive. You never really know what's the deal with it, and I think that counts so much when it comes to the
mm.
Champions League.
How do you see Barcelona shaping up this season without Lionel Messi, who's become quite an intricate role and played quite an important role in the team setup and how the team was set up to play?
Yeah.
Lionel Messi is now gone out of the team. Barcelona, do you see them being as dominant in Champions League football as they've been over these past few seasons?
Well, the past few seasons they haven't been dominant either. I mean, you can go back to last season when they suffered that 8-2, thrashing by Bayern. So I think they need a serious rebuilding phase, and
Mm,
I think not having Messi there will kind of, like, I don't know, be like a blessing in disguise, because now reality is there. Now you have to deal with the
mm,
players that you have, and you don't have this magician that always rescues you when the going gets tough. They have a good squad. They've likes of Memphis Depay, who's playing well, good player. I think it's going to take some time, man. It's going
mm,
to take some time for them. They need to find themselves again, and it's a challenging phase that they're going through. But watching the first game that they played against Bayern also, it wasn't inspiring. They again were thrashed three
mm,
nil. So I think it's going to take some time for them to be that force to be reckoned with in the Champions League, like we used them to be in the seasons gone by. So yeah, I don't see it for them this season. I honestly don't.
you sound very, very you don't sound so enthusiastic when you actually
No, no,
speak
no,
about
no.
that and bring it up.
Ah,
And I mean,
yeah.
you know, just looking at football around the country, and if
Hmm.
we just look earlier today, Simpiwe Shori Tludlu has now joined Tux as the head coach.
Yeah, yeah.
Or not Tux, sorry, TUT for that
TUT,
matter. Right?
TUT ladies, yeah.
What does that mean for a team like TUT? Because now they are well on their way to stamping their mark in the league. Everybody's seen on television what they can do. What does this mean for women's football and women's varsity football? Having a
Hmm.
former Banyana player within your setup.
I think she comes with a wealth of experience. I think she's still with the under 17 women's team, which is a brilliant feeder team to the national women's team, which is one of the best in Africa.
Mm,
So I think she comes with a wealth of experience working so closely with excuse me, with Desiree Ellis, in building the national team. I think it's going to post really, really well for them. Someone needs to you know inject that life into
mm.
into into women's football. They've been doing well, TUT, in varsity cup, but again, it's so close, but
So
yet
far away.
yet so far away. So I think
Mm.
she's a brilliant coach, and it'll be interesting to
It's
to
going to be
see.
interesting to
Um,
see. I mean, there's so many things happening in the sphere of sport in South
yeah,
Africa at the moment. We've touched on football. We've touched on locally. We've touched on
yeah.
football abroad.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up? Swift.
FIFA Club World Cup.
Hmm.
There are rumors here and there that
South Africa's bidding for it.
South Africa is bidding for it. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, from a business perspective and a business aspect, I see that, you know what, the industry and South Africa's business sphere has plummeted so much over the past two
Yeah.
years with COVID. And I think that, yes, it won't be as big as the World Cup, but having those people and players in our spaces would do wonders for the business side of things. Because
Mm.
now you'll find that hotels will start getting
Yeah.
full again. You'll find that flights are booked. You'll find that your service providers locally will get more business. And I think that would be a key injection. And if this event is marketed to perfection and sold properly to the general public,
Yeah.
I promise you, this could be the revival that the business side of South Africa has needed for a very, very long time.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I think, it would be nice seeing Sundowns again, because as hosts, you automatically get to play. We know Al Ahly will be playing as the winners of the AFCON Champions League. So having Sundowns in the mix there again, rubbing shoulders with the best in world football. If Chelsea, that might come if it does happen that we host it. So it should be interesting. Yeah.
Look, it will be. It will be. And I mean, those are all things that you need to look at. And hopefully, somehow and somewhat, South Africa can get that and, bring back that spirit. But we can speak about football all night. I mean, there's so much to chat about. But right now, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Chatting to me in studio. We're going to go to a quick ad break. When we come back, we're chatting to Sibusiso Shongwe from Special Olympics. And he's going to tell us everything about what you need to know about the icy plunge taking place tomorrow morning.
What's that? I saw your picture somewhere, rumors that you'll be participating in the thing. Me and Black, we don't play with water, especially cold water. What's the story there?
We need to break that barrier, firstly. But secondly, so the Special Olympics has been raising funds from the general public in South Africa so that they can make their way to Russia to represent the country.
Oh. And you what? Will they be dunking cold water on you, or you taking a cold swim? What's
so it's basically taking a cold swim.
Yeah.
All in aid of getting them to Russia.
It's weird that it's September, but it's still a bit cold. So,
no, Chief.
Hey, Chief. This morning, did you hear how cold it was this morning? And imagine you there in the cold water there.
No, my friend.
Why don't you just do an EFT? It's simple, complicate your life, man. Just do an EFT and
not all of us from the north and have those benefits. But I mean, it's one of those things to consider.
Yeah, it's EFT, man. Like you could freeze, bruh. It's cold.
No,
it's
man.
Global warming. It's cold.
We're gonna be strong. We're gonna be strong. We're gonna be out here trailblazing, setting an example, and getting the general public of South Africa to pump funds into the Special Olympics path so that they can make their way over to Russia. We're gonna be chatting more about that at 8:00 on the dot. We're chatting to Sibusiso Shongwe. He's going to be giving us the breakdown of what exactly we can expect from the Special Olympics team, what it is, and everything that goes around it in order to make sure that they make their way, get on a flight over to Russia and represent the country. So, Lilo, thank you for your time this evening. It's always a pleasure. I look forward to hosting you soon again.
Waiting for that challenge on your Instagram. You should tag me there. I want to see you scream. From the cold.
I'll definitely do it. Definitely. Thanks some more. We're going to be going to a quick ad break. When we come back, we're chatting all things Special Olympics. Stay tuned. Don't turn that dial. Don't log out. Stay tuned to Salam Media. We'll be back.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining